I don't think up until that point I realised how bad things were, and I mean, I've always said to myself that I'm thankful for having that moment because it kind of made me realise what's actually going on, and it kind of made me realise how much I want to help other people.
April 2018, you wrote a Facebook status about your mental health.
Yeah,
And obviously, if you're okay talking about it, can you remember kind of what it was about?
I mean that was a very weird point in my life. So I was at that point unemployed. I just lost my second job of the year because the business had shut down, and I was parents were on holiday, so I was just home alone for about 2 weeks.
Mm,
Obviously, all my mates were working, so obviously just that loneliness and that confinement without having any kind of outside contact, which obviously, like we all know is important to us, but you don't really understand how important it is.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just that kind of confinement, I guess, that kind of pushed me to my limits.
that's really tough, man. Like, I remember seeing that status, and like we've not like really chatted that much before or anything, but like sadly, like I feel like everyone knows people who have gone through like similar feelings, and god forbid those people who have kind of taken their life or like made themselves really ill and stuff like that. So I remember seeing that status and sort of having a real reaction to that. And I mean, what were you kind of feeling at the time? I guess of writing that as well. What were you kind of feeling, I guess?
I don't think up until that point I realised how bad things were, and I mean, I've always said to myself that I'm thankful for having that moment because it kind of made me realise what's actually going on, and it kind of made me realise how much I want to help other people.
Mm,
Like, it really wasn't a thought that ever crossed my mind. It never crossed my mind how bad things were getting and how out of control they were getting. Um, Obviously, after that, like it kind of carried on for a little bit, but it was just a kind like that for me was a real point where I decided so that was the time to start kind of talking up about this and kind of helping other people to understand that they might be feeling these emotions, but they don't know what it actually is.
mm,
Um, I mean, I can remember graduating and going to Glastonbury and saying, no, like that should be like one of the best days of your lives. But I just remember getting to Glastonbury and just sitting in the tent and crying and not knowing what, like, why.
yeah,
It's just that kind of understanding of like, why am I not happy because I'm here at Glastonbury and I've just graduated? Like, it was just such a like, I know so many people go through like highs and lows and you don't understand why you're feeling that because you know you should be feeling something else.
yeah. Yeah, I think that kind of disconnect, I've definitely experienced that, and sort of almost it's a scary feeling when you kind of don't feel in control of your
Yeah,
feelings,
exactly.
sort of
Yeah.
thing. You sort of feel it quite, you know, like it's not your own kind of body, I guess. Did your friends or people around you at Glastonbury, for instance, could they spot something was wrong, or did you kind of hide it, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think like looking back at it now, that's one thing I was always good at was hide, like trying to hide it.
Yeah,
People always kind of knew me as that kind of happy guy who just wanted to go and have a laugh. But as soon as I was by myself, like Glastonbury, I think I spent probably about 90% of it by myself,
yeah,
just to kind of not ruin anyone else's weekend and also not anyone kind of, even though I didn't know what's going on, I knew that something wasn't right and I didn't want anyone else to know that.
mm,
So yeah, for me, even unintentionally, like I was always hiding it and just trying to play it down as much as possible.
yeah. Do you feel like since that time, have you found a way to kind of, communicate how you're feeling, or sort of be in touch with that? If you do feel low, about being able to kind of communicate.
Um, I tried. I definitely tried. I tried so many different ways. Counselling probably was the only way that I didn't really venture down until October just gone,
Mm,
uh, which turns out it was the right kind of thing that I needed. But just trying to, I guess in my head, spreading a message across social media was something that I thought would help people, and but maybe within myself, kind of also kind of letting everyone look into how I was actually like what was going on inside.
mm,
Maybe like it wasn't the best thing to do, and like for other people that probably didn't help them either. But it's something we need to do, like having these conversations on social media, and I think we just kind of need to kind of understand how we approach that and how we do talk about it, because this like the smallest of words can affect someone so easily, and like we
mm.
don't understand that straight away. But
I mean, I can't remember if I said, but I've talked kind of openly about like my ex-girlfriend took her own life about coming up to like 4 years now. And she similarly, like she was always so happy, you know, you would never ever sort of experience it. And I kind of
Yeah,
feel like there's a real issue with, you know, people probably, I imagine like yourself, you know, putting others first. You don't want to be a burden. You just kind of want to be there for others. And, you know, when do you kind of have time for yourself, I guess?
yeah. I mean, that was something that has always been said. Like when people have been talked about it, they've always said that I put like people first, and I kind of make sure that everyone else is happy before I was. That's something that I've kind of realised over the last few months that isn't the right thing to do. As much as you should like obviously help to make other people happy, obviously that's not going to work out unless you're kind of like understanding yourself properly and putting you first.
Yeah. Has there been anything that you've kind of changed in the last kind of year or so that has, you know, that you have seen like a positive impact at all?
I mean, being sober just like 20 days away from being about 6 months,
That's amazing.
has had like the biggest impacts that I never knew would ever happen.
Yeah.
I've had people talk about, I've seen people go through it, and like you see the transformations in people, but you can never like connect it to yourself until you try it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't until I actually did it. I tried going sober from last October and started drinking again in November, and then beginning of December, that's when I like cut it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just mad how much it has changed things. You like I said, you don't think about how much it's gonna do, and then once you have done it, you realise that kind of keeps you on that right track.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, you know, that discipline. And I think it just gives people a chance as well.
Yeah,
Because it's like, especially obviously in Britain, like alcohol is like so ingrained in our culture and
yeah,
lifestyle. Like, yeah, I know quite a few people, including myself, who don't drink, and I think people should try it, obviously, if they want to drink.
yeah.
But you know, I think it's a real positive thing just to try, just to see sort of how you cope with it, I guess.
Yeah, I went to a talk at BBC Introducing Live last October, so just after I like started going sober, and there was a really good conversation about how we as a country, our relationship with alcohol compared to, like, say, the rest of Europe,
Mm,
but they're very much, their communities are more based around eating together and kind of that, just that kind of community feel and kind of helping each other understand each other,
yeah,
speak about your days, whereas us, it's just kind of get as drunk as possible and have a great time.
yeah,
So yeah, that conversation was really eye-opening actually, because I never thought about it that way.
yeah,
But we do have a very weird culture.
yeah. Especially when like I grew up in Norwich, and there's like this sort of like the Las Vegas strip of Norwich, where like just there's bodies on the floor, everyone's like
Yep.
paralytic, and I mean, I'm sure every city in town has their own kind of version in it.
Yes.
But you leading up to this chat, you said something really interesting about lockdown. Obviously, at the time of recording, we're in lockdown at the moment. How has it been for you and for like your healing and development?
First, maybe 2 weeks for normal was like nothing had really changed. Obviously, getting used to being under lockdown, but like within myself, nothing had changed. And then after that, I kind of noticed myself starting to go downhill. Did what I've been doing if I was going downhill, like in a normal day, just go out for a walk or
Mm,
just do something to look after myself. And then, yeah, just this really weird, I hit 5 months being sober. And this really weird, like it was such a weird like week or so where I just kind of, I didn't really talk to anyone else. I didn't go out like I used to go to work for meetings or whatever. I kind of just said no to all of that.
yeah,
I just spent time getting to know myself and like who this new person is. Like being sober is so much different to how I was
yeah,
drinking, and just kind of getting to know who I am now, what my priorities are, and what I want to do over the next couple of years to kind of help other people and help myself.
that's
And
amazing.
yeah, I think it was just kind of having that moment where you realize like how kind of strong you are as a human.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was really nice actually. It's definitely helped a lot, just kind of building that relationship up. It's very important.
yeah, definitely. And have you seen like a change with your work and stuff as well? I think you kind of talking about that.
Consciously, that I've not done anything different to how I usually work. But the way it's kind of connecting to people, I mean, it's nothing to do with mental health, like creating playlists or kind of helping bands with artist development. And just that kind of stuff has been pushed so much further than it has before. And that's kind of opening up a whole new world of contacts and just even conversation, just hanging out with people, like just saying, do you want to call on Zoom, stuff like that. Like everything seems to have changed. There's just this whole confidence and belief behind everything I do now, which, like I said, it hasn't existed in about 7-8 years.
Amazing. That's really cool. I think especially, I mean, yeah, lockdown can kind of go like either way, really. I think for me, like Zoom, doing this, I'm quite introverted, but I kind of feel like, you know, doing these to talk to people about, you know, things that matter to them. It's like such a amazing connection between people, and kind of it's definitely helping, you know, working from home, being at home,
Yeah.
always being at home.
Before lockdown, if anyone ever asked to do like a meeting over a call, that would be my worst nightmare. Like, I hated it.
Yeah.
I would much prefer like an email, a really long email. It would take me an hour to read. I don't care.
Yeah.
But since this has started up, like just even being on Zoom and stuff like that, it's just kind of built up that kind of contact with people so much more. I prefer this so much more now.
That's really cool. Yeah, you can tell like that confidence. I think, yeah, just focusing on yourself and, you know, sobriety. Do you have any advice for, you know, if people are feeling as low as you were back in sort of April 2018, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, so I'd say with me, one of the problems that I faced was that I reached out to the Samaritans, and I never found that helpful. And that's not saying that they're not helpful as an organization, because I know they've helped so many people, but not everything's there for everyone. Like you kind of got to give yourself time to find the things that are right for you. There are so many local organizations that are out there. Like even for musicians, like help musicians, or you've got mine. Just there are so many different things that you can. So I'd just say, if you are feeling low and you're ready to talk to someone, just don't think that it's going to be the first people you talk to that are going to give you the results. Just look around and find out what's best for you.
Do you feel like you've had sort of support from the music community and sort of your peers in music?
Massively, especially like over the last year or so. I feel like we're having a lot more open conversations about how everyone's feeling. Like even me finding out about friends who are kind of struggling the same as I do, and like something I never realised, something probably they didn't realise until we started talking about it a lot more. I definitely see a lot more like conversation happening, even through press, through all kinds of things. And I think we're moving forward, but there's just a little bit more work to do.
It's such a silent issue. Like, you know, everyone has mental health, but
yeah,
you know, it's so hard to kind of figure out how people are until they actually open up. And also, like, sometimes hard just to figure out how you are in yourself as well.
We all know like depression and anxiety and that exists, but no one could tell you how that really feels. Like they can tell you how they're feeling, but they can't tell you like that process just goes through your whole body. And it's just such a weird thing that you've got to learn for yourself. As hard as it can be, it's just something that you kind of got to learn.
I loved that conversation and really appreciate Connor opening up about his experiences. It's really important that if you're watching this and you're having a hard time with your mental health, please know that there is support out there for you. Here is a list of organizations that can offer support online or by phone. You are not alone. You may feel like you are. You might not want to burden your loved ones with your worries or sadness, but please know that they want to be there for you. They don't want anything bad to happen to you, so please reach out to them and ask for help. If you found this video useful, please click like and subscribe. If you enjoyed this conversation, you might enjoy the video linked in the eye above. Next week, my guest is Sophie Eggleton. We discuss the influencer industry, the pros, cons, identity, and mental health. Sophie shares a lot of her experiences in the influencer industry, so please click subscribe so you don't miss that conversation. Until next time, stay safe and stay connected.